my team has certain communications with the White House. Let me just be clear, they had nothing to do with this review. They had no oversight over this review. They did not tell this department how to do our review, what to look for, what to redact, what to not redact. There's this mantra out there that, the Department of Justice is supposed to protect Donald J. Trump. And that's what we were telling. That's not true. That was never the case. We are always concerned about the victims. We did not protect President Trump. We didn't protect or not protect anybody.
Sure, Jan. Anyway, they would have you believe that this entire thing, the release of the new documents today, in which the DOJ released about 3 million additional documents, files, pictures, videos having to do with Jeffrey Epstein, and this entire endeavor that stretched for almost a year now had nothing to do with protecting Donald Trump, when that has obviously been the mission statement from the beginning. And so we got a bunch of documents. That's the good news. There is some good news here. There's also bad news. First of all, they didn't release all of the documents. They've redacted documents that they weren't supposed to. They were supposed to provide explanations for redactions that did exist, and they didn't do that. And perhaps the worst news, morally at least, is that some of the documents released include absolutely horrific allegations against Donald Trump. But interestingly, after people found them, the DOJ temporarily deleted those files, then perhaps realized that doesn't actually work on the internet. People had already downloaded them, and so they re-uploaded them. And we're gonna discuss, but Cenk, what are your 2 cents?
First of all, wait till you get a load of the allegations against Donald Trump. Are they really true with a 13-year-old? Oof. So then there's allegations against Bill Gates. And then that's not just about Bill Gates. That's about Jeffrey Epstein's MO. How does he work and why is he doing what he's doing? Let alone the revelations about Israel, of course. So there's a lot more to this. Let's give you all the facts and then figure out, are we ever going to get anyone who actually did it?
Yeah, and remember, Ghislaine Maxwell revealed earlier this week, or at least documents from her revealed, that there were other clients. There were other men, dozens of them, who got these sweetheart deals, but we're told there's no client list. In any event, we've got a list of more than a dozen horrific allegations. We're not gonna cover all of them, but they are available online if you want. They were included in emails that were sent by officials in the FBI's New York field office on the Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Task Force. Now, bear in mind that these, in some cases, have been investigated by the FBI to varying levels, but all of them are claims that were made against him. They're not the original result of FBI reporting, and so we cannot say with any certainty whether they're actually true, and I doubt we will ever be able to, because the DOJ is not actually investigating any of these claims with anything approaching a serious approach. But that said, they do contain graphic, disgusting descriptions of sexual assault, so bear that in mind. There was one complaint made by a friend of the alleged victim. In it, the president was accused of forcing a teenage girl to perform oral sex on him. The quote says, redacted, reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing oral sex. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting President Trump. The friend said that she was also abused by Epstein. The 35 years ago would put this in the range of when they were, best friends and party buddies, doing what they're doing. In the response column of the document for this particular one, it says that an investigator was sent to Washington to conduct an interview. And I guess I'd love to know what you found out from the interview, but again, this is not a serious thing the DOJ is doing. They're not gonna explain any of this. Another complaint alleged that Trump hosted calendar girls parties at Mar-a-Lago that involved genital measurements for children who were brought by Jeffrey Epstein. This is obviously a different sort of genital inspection than Republicans are now advocating for in women's sports on a regular basis. This is something far more sinister and explicitly sexual. At this party, allegedly were Elon Musk, Eric, Ivanka, and Donald Trump Jr., Alan Dershowitz supposedly as well, and the claimant claimed that we were taken in rooms, forced to give oral sex to Donald J. Trump, forced to allow them to penetrate us. I was 13 years old when Donald J. Trump raped me. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. There's a lot here, Cenk. Claims of a sex trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes between 1995 and 1996, saying that Ghislaine Maxwell was involved in that. There's a claim against the former host of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, Robin Leach, having supposedly strangled a girl, and then violent threats made against the victims that they would be murdered if they ever told anyone about it. And that one was labeled not credible by the FBI, which is interesting because not all of the others were labeled not credible. So what are we supposed to do with this, Cenk?
Yeah, there's varying levels of credibility, and a lot of them they thought this is total junk, and they didn't bother to investigate it. But the one about Trump being with a 13-year-old, they did investigate, and that was in August of 25, just last year. So I don't know if that's an active investigation because Blanche said that they did redact some material or did not include some material of active investigations. Didn't know they had any active investigations because a couple months ago they said that there were no other clients.
Well, and remember that before that investigation, Pam Bondi said, remember she started this whole thing coming out and saying, we're done with this. There's nothing else to investigate. Evidently there was.
Yeah, but I want to be super clear. We don't know that Trump did that. We just know that someone accused them of that. So like if that was someone you like, just picture, I don't want to put out any names, right? You'd say, whoa, he didn't have his day in court. They didn't even vet that one person, let alone build a case, let alone bring it to a grand jury, let alone convict him, right? So we want to be super fair about that. It's just an allegation, obviously a deeply disturbing allegation. What's more disturbing is that there are tons and tons of allegations, and it's unclear how many of them were thoroughly investigated at all.
Yeah.
In the past, now, or has it just been accepted in the Justice Department? No, do not investigate. And why? There's of course all the theories as we've gone through a million times about powerful guys, but as you're gonna see a little bit later, there's also the issue of the intelligence agencies in Israel. So whenever those things are involved, it becomes a complete no-go zone. So I wanna move on to Elon Musk and Bill Gates, but again, even on them, huge grain of salt on what you're hearing here, because no one was convicted, nobody was brought to trial. These are people that are just saying this about them.
Exactly.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.